All right, it's Chinese kit time. I wonder what our Chinese kit is today. Okay, let's get it onto a tray. Nice. Let's take a look at the schematic. I don't know Chinese. Okay, let's see here. We've got some R's and some C's and some I's and some... Okay. We got this cool diagram here. So, I know what it is, but you have to guess from the diagram, okay? All right, so here's the diagram. All right, we've got some, what seems to be independent circuits. We've got this one circuit over here that's just 4 LEDs. That's pretty weird. We got a power supply circuit over here, like a full bridge rectifier, an on-off switch, and a 3-volt regulator, a 5-volt regulator, LM05, LM7805, with an on LED. But it's separate, see? These don't make any connections. And then we got this thing here, which... if you've seen one of my videos, you might recognize it. It's a bunch of exclusive OR gates and one LED, and then some switches. So maybe it's demonstrating the exclusive OR function, like it's a comparator. So if this equals that, you get that. Okay, what's that have to do with all the other stuff though? Like, I mean, it's pretty weird. So it is made in 2021. All right, let's get out translate here, and this. Okay, gotta go slow here. This says circuit diagram. That's no help. All right, there's a funny label down here. Let's read that one. 4-digit simple combination lock. Okay, so it's a combination lock. So if you maybe set a combination and then type in the or flip the little switches and the two match, then your door opens. And I guess these LEDs here will help you see what you're doing, if it's on or not. Logic level indication, that's what that is. I can't read that. Power supply voltage stabilization. All right. And what's that right there? That might be a good clue. What does that say? Unlock. Stand up a simple combination lock instructions. Well, where did that come from? Unlock instructions. Unlock instructions. Whatever. Yeah, it's pretty crude. I think the simple 4-digit combination lock, you might get really excited as a kit. That's why I bought it. And then you see what you get. It's a piece of poo. Oh, well. Let's build it anyway. Let's build our poo. All right. Let's put all our things over there. Here's our little switchies, diodes, lots of little switchies, probably 8 of them. If I had to guess. If I had to guess. Okay. Let's see here. Let's check the schematic and see if all the R's are the same. All the R's are the same. 300, no. Okay, so we got some 470s and 300s. All right. These look like 300s maybe. I don't know. Let's just put some things in it. Let's just get it built. guess it doesn't really matter where we start, right? What do I always say? Do the flat things first. I don't think it matters in this one. I don't think it matters one bit. But let's see if we can't figure out what value these resistors are. These look like 2, something 2. Something 2, that doesn't even ring a bell. And these guys here are 3, these are 300s. And the 300s, I recognize those. Those are for the LEDs. And where are the LEDs? LEDs are up there. So these are the 300s. So let's put those in. There we go. Actually rained a little bit today. Kind of weird. People are saying, what do you mean? It's rainy season. Why is that weird? Anytime it rains in California, that's weird. No, it's just that we had a couple real nice days, and now it's not. IMSAI dog does not like the rain. If it's really coming down, I'll put my raincoat on and say, okay, we can go. And he'll take one look out the window and say, heck no, let's stay here. Are you crazy? He's a smart dog. He's a smart dog. All right, here's some LEDs. Let's put those in. Pluses are this away. Pluses are the long lead. The other way you can just kind of stare inside the thing and figure it out. But, okay. Well, I have been around LEDs all my life. Since 1980. Started making LEDs in 1980. Because that's the job I got. Optoelectronics. I've been doing optoelectronics my entire career. Guess you got to do something. People know that I do a lot of optics, and kind of started out there doing LED type stuff. Strange thing was, I got hired into a group that built test equipment, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do test equipment, hardware test equipment. They didn't have that particular job at the time, but they said, we really need software engineers. And if you could do that for 6 months, we maybe can move you over into hardware. Okay, I'll go do that, because it was a good company. And the reason they hired me, because I knew a really bizarre programming language, Forth. And that's just so happens that's what they were using to do all their testers. It was Forth, because it both compiles and interprets at the same time, so it's easy to troubleshoot things, because you can just walk up and type in commands and make real-time commands, but then you can also compile things to run, you know, production test equipment and stuff. So that's interesting. Okay, got that going there. Let's do this little thing here. Put on the little, where should I put these? Should I put them on the back or the front? I think I'll put them on the back, then I might be able to actually use this thing for something. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the LEDs getting its... Oh, it comes... Oh, this board is not supposed to be separated. What the heck, then? What the heck? What are you supposed to do with it then? I thought maybe these lines is you would saw these out to be separate things, but I don't think that's true. So we'll put this on the front side then. Because then we've got these little things that we could patch it together with, so okie dokie. Let me get out some blue tack. My secret weapon for soldering things. I'll stick it on this side and flip it over. Holds it in place while I solder it on the other side. Anyway, programmed in fourth. That's pretty weird. I had learned it when I was working in a naval lab down in San Diego. They had a copy of it or something. I don't know. It was real esoteric. I don't know why they had it, and I don't know why Hewlett-Packard was using it. It was super esoteric at the time. Still is esoteric. But I knew how to do it, so I got a job. And then I eventually moved into hardware. So I should put this on. Sure, why not? Oh, that was what, 1980? 1980. In Palo Alto, California. All right. I have a nice big, see here, this must be the negative. Bridge diodes over here. I'll put this on. I was happy to get a job because I had been sleeping on the floor of my friend's apartment. I had no mattress. I had nothing. I was sleeping on the floor. I had a sleeping bag. That was it. Sleeping on the hard floor. And my first paycheck I used to pay back my mom who had lent me $400. And then the next paycheck, I bought myself a mattress and got it at a used store. I don't think I'd do that now, but you do what you do when you got no money. Bought a used mattress. Blah. You can't even imagine it now, but it was what it was. And then at least didn't have a frame or anything. I just had the mattress, but at least I wasn't on a hard floor any longer. So that was a big bonus. Yeah, that was a big bonus. The guy I was living with, we had met in college. He had gone through the same physics program that I did. And when I decided to come to Silicon Valley, I asked him, yeah, I mean, where should I go? Where can I stay, right? Do you know any apartments or anything, right? He goes, oh, you can come stay with me. Thank you. I think I paid him $200 a month to stay with him. He had a two-bedroom apartment, so he wasn't using the other bedroom. Frank. I remember Frank. He's my roommate for a while. We decided to get out of apartment life, and we rented a house, and we could afford it if we had three people paying. So we needed a roommate. We put an ad out, and we had a couple of roommates, but the best roommate we ever had was this guy who knocked on the door, said he needed a place to stay, and he'd rent our apartment or our bedroom. And he said he wouldn't be there much. He was this traveling salesman for a pharmaceutical company, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He had a bunch of stuff, literature and stuff that he wanted to store, and he needed. So he would come here, like once a month for maybe a week, right? And he just kept stuff in that room, and then when he was here, he had a place to stay, and it was much cheaper than doing the hotel thing and trying to find some place to store all this stuff. So he was the perfect roommate because he was never there. He was never there. It was great. All right. Let's put this guy on. I don't know if I've told this story, but I had another roommate who, again, we were sharing a house for 3 ways. And he worked for a company called Failure Analysis. Raise your hand if you know who Failure Analysis is. And the company worked on things that break, and then they would go try to investigate why did it break. So it's kind of cool. And he had some real famous cases that were in the media and everything, but where's my blue tack? There it is. He had this great story about NASA that never made it into the press. I still haven't heard it. See, tell me if you've heard the story. On one of the, I think it was one of the Apollo missions, might have been a Gemini mission, but somewhere in there, one of those missions, they, when the astronauts go to the bathroom, what am I saying? When the astronauts go to the bathroom, they lock it up in these cabinets for safekeeping, so they can do analysis on it when they get back to Earth. And there's no place to throw it out the window there. So they put it in this locker and sealed plastic bags and everything. And in one particular flight, I don't know what size resistor those are. I gotta measure some resistor values here. I can't read the darn color codes on these Chinese resistors. That one's 470s. Okay, so these are 470s, and these can go over there. Okay. Anyway, talking about astronauts pooping in space. So on one of the re-entries, they used to come down and splash into the ocean, and then the helicopter would come grab them. And anyway, they had come down, and during re-entry, the locker that had their feces in it had opened up, and all the little baggies came out, and they went all over the place, and they broke open, and there was, talking about shit hitting the walls, it did there. The whole inside of the spacecraft was covered in poo, and the astronauts got sick because they're in this water going up and down, and they got poo all over them, and yeah, it was a big mess, but they didn't tell anybody. So yeah, tell me if you've heard the story, because he said no one had said anything. Stupid leaf blower outside, but you don't care. He just covers up my yakking. That's probably a benefit today. I used to complain about noise outside, but today it might be a good thing. Oh, let's cut these off here. There we go. All right. Yeah, looks like we got some more down here, so we'll do those. I thought they were going to make leaf blowers illegal. I thought California had a law that got passed, so you have to have electric ones now. It's probably a grandfather that if you have them already that you get to keep them or something. I don't know. Who's going to enforce it? I don't know. It's kind of silly. They are objectionable, though. Maybe Harley Davidson should make leaf blowers. They have a patent on the sound that a Harley makes. Pretty weird. He worked on another case that was all in the news back in the 80s. There was some event at some hotel, and there were people on this balcony, and everybody was tapping their toes, and they happened to get all in synchronization and caused a vibration in the balcony, and the balcony collapsed, and everybody got hurt, and there was a big lawsuit. So of course the lawyers wanted to know who's at fault, and of course they hired this company and said, can you tell us what happened so we can go sue people's asses and make lots of money being lawyers. I don't care if we win or lose, we're going to make money. And so yeah, he did that one. That was kind of fun. And told me that 60 Minutes had come to their company. They wanted to do an expose on the balcony collapse. And they didn't trust 60 Minutes because they like to edit their footage and only show one side. So they told 60 Minutes, sure, no problem. You bring in your film crew and we'll bring in our film crew and we'll both video together. And 60 Minutes went away. Okay. That was a good way to handle it. Let's get it early. Somebody was asking me what kind of solder wick I've used. I used all kinds. This is Chemtronics. There you go. I don't know. I haven't seen one better than the other. I don't think I've actually purchased any. I don't think I've actually purchased any. I always seem to find it, you know. Comes as part of something or other, and I get some. I don't know. Just seems like I have stuff, and I don't think I've ever bought it, actually. All right, look at that. Whew. Okay. Put on a couple sockets, that'd be fun. The guy was into aviation. He was a flight instructor, too. He encouraged me to get my pilot's license. That was one of those things I always wanted to do, and I did it, and then completely lost interest. That's one of my behaviors, one of my personal, I don't know, my DNA, whatever you want to call it, is that yeah.
You come put eye drop in my eye.
Okay, just a second. I have to go put eye drops in IMSAI gal's eye because she got cataract surgery, so she needs to put in drops twice a day. So I will pause here. All right, eye drops inserted. The physician who did her surgery said he was looking at eye drops, and there was different types. There's a steroid and some other things that you put in your eye, and there's usually 2 sets of drops, and you have to do this and that, and blah, 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 blah. And by having to buy both of them and everything, it was costing $400 for these eye drops, for this whole set of eye drops. So he went to one of the drug companies and said, hey, can you put all of those eye drops together into one jar, into one dropper eye drop bottle, and change the dosages and stuff so that you just have to use one bottle. So she has this stuff that she just has to put in her eye twice a day, and that's all she has to do. And because he went to this drug company and got it made special, and you order it online, it's $30. $30 instead of $400. So how's that for the wonderful drugs that we buy here in the United States? We pay way too much money for them. Where's my... Okay. I think I was saying I have a personality disorder. Not really. I just, there's things that I want to do, and I get 90% of the way there, and then I just lose interest. I don't need to master anything. I just want to accomplish things, and I sort of lose interest. I remember in getting my license, I told my flight instructor, you know, now that I've soloed, I have no desire to fly anymore, because that was kind of my goal, you know. And I said, you're going to have to kind of push me a bit the rest of the way. And anyway, I did get my license. It's funny though. I got too many things to do in one lifetime, and not enough time. Flying wasn't as interesting as I thought it was going to be. I did enjoy it, but I don't know, I just expected something different. All right, let's get some more. Let's get some more resistors. Are these all the same? Yeah, these are all the same. What value are these resistors? Oh, these are 8K. That's kind of an interesting value. Why are these 8K? Oh, there they are. All right. 8K. Okay, fine. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I enjoyed. It's a pretty place here. We used to fly right over the ocean and up near Golden Gate and Golden Gate Bridge and stuff. Beautiful sights. It is busy here though. Many airports here. So I flew out of Palo Alto, and you have San Jose Airport, and you have Moffett Field Airport, and you have San Francisco Airport, you have San Mateo Airport, and San Carlos Airport, and you know, all those airports, and I was like, too many airports. I used to like to fly over to Half Moon Bay. I liked their airport. It was an uncontrolled airport, so you could just do anything you wanted there. I used to go there to practice landings, And it's right on the ocean too, so it's just beautiful there. The approach is a little funny over a little mountain, but oh, it's fun. Okay. I'm probably repeating myself, but when I was in flight school, you have to take classroom work, right? And sorry, timed out. There we go. So you have to take flight school and do a bunch of paperwork and take tests and stuff. And the guy who I just mentioned previously, Frank, he worked at some company, and his admin or boss or somebody, I forget how she was in the company with him. But anyway, he said that she was taking ground school, and I went, oh, great. Maybe I should look into the one that she's doing. And so I ended up going to that one, and she was there. I introduced myself. So, you know, you're stuck with people, you talk. And one day we were talking about money, because it's obvious that she had money. I did not. I did not have money. And so, talking about, you know, money and investments and all that kind of stuff. And turns out, he was talking about one investment that did her really well. Oh, that's interesting. What's that? She said, well, it's San Francisco. There were these two brothers that were going to open a theater and make movies. And I gave them money. And they were the Mitchell brothers, who had filmed Behind the Green Door. And so she made a pretty penny off of that adventure. Not what you expect to hear. I mean, she looked like a soccer mom, you know? Oh, interesting, interesting. All right. I don't know if it's still there or not. Mitchell Brothers Theater on O'Farrell in San Francisco. I don't know if it's still there or not. Probably closed down, I would imagine, but I don't know. Okay, we got a little switch over here. How come I don't have another switch? Oh, it's this thing. Ah, I see. This one has just a little doohickey thing with another thingy. You can put the thing on your top, you know. One of these things where you slide it on. Jumper on headers. There you go. Jumper on headers. Yeah, in the 80s, she probably invested them in the 70s, right? Yeah, it must have been. She was investing them in the 70s. Yeah, that was cutting edge. Which leads me to another story. I hope I'm not repeating myself on this channel, but this is a good story. When I worked for the Navy, so when I was going to school, I had a summer job. 2 summers in a row, I worked for a Navy research base down in San Diego. Naval Personnel Research and Development, something or other. Anyway, the think tank of PhDs doing weird electronic stuff, electronic warfare and electronic controls and stuff for military applications. And anywho, we were in this C2 and C4, are these the same? Yeah. We were in this group that did kind of support. So people would come to us with projects. Can you do this? Can you build this for us? We want to try this out. Can you get some engineers to build us a doohickey? I worked on speech input and output back in the 70s, so that was a real new field, having a computer talk and listen. But anyway, that's not the story. Story is that that particular group also handled photography. They did training films and stuff for the military, and they also did all of the photography stuff, right? So they had a darkroom, and you could develop film there and stuff, and they had a complete audiovisual studio for recording and dubbing and, all the, a real like a TV studio. And so they had all of that stuff. And so I was in there one day, and my boss and the secretary were watching porn. At the time, now remember, this is the late 70s, so Deep Throat had just come out and some other things. And there was no VCRs, okay? There was 1-inch reel-to-reel tape, and Betamax had just been invented, but I mean 3/4-inch Betamax, the professional Betamax, okay? And they were taking a, I just dropped my LED. They were taking a film, a 35 millimeter film from a studio, and they were duping it onto 1-inch reel-to-reel video equipment. And they had Deep Throat and Star Wars and I don't remember, a couple huge Broadway, big buster, really big name stuff, right? I mean, and the guy told me, remember this is late 70s, he says, if you could get us a clean copy from a studio of a first run movie, you could get $10,000. So people were smuggling them out of theaters and getting their $10,000, and then there was this bootleg community that took these films and somehow distributed. There was some, like I said, before Betamax and everything. I remember, though, the guy telling me somehow he had insight that VCRs were coming. And he said, if I were your age, talking to me, I was I 20? How old was I? Probably right around 20. He goes, you could make a lot of money in this business in the upcoming years. He was right. He was right. He saw the whole blockbuster rental porn and all that stuff. He saw it coming. Anyway, interesting to not only be watching porn with your boss and secretary, but on a secret Navy base. Yes, sir. Good times. Good times. All right. How are we doing here? How are we doing? Are you bored yet? Why do people watch these things? Why do they watch my channel? I know some people would say immediately, well, the guy's an idiot, you shouldn't watch his channel, but then they watch anyway. I don't care. I just have fun. And I just find it amazing that I can have fun and get paid for it as well. People give me free stuff. Google gives me ad revenue money. It's just surrealistic. It's very, very odd. Very strange. That's what I'd be doing anyway, and now it's just all self-fulfilling. All right. Are we done? Are we done? I think we're done. There's one little TP left. And my little jumper thing. Let's put the jumper on. Jumper over here. I don't know. I guess we'll have to figure out if this thing works or not. All right, it's all put together. I've put these wires here that just jumps from here to here. I really don't know the function of this. I don't know if you can separate the, it doesn't look, I don't know. I don't know why this is here. I really don't. Maybe you can put these switches remotely, or I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, what I do know is that you have some switches over here, have some switches over here, and I think they have to be equal for this LED to light up. So we'll see if that's true. This is set up for a bridge, a full bridge rectifier that goes into a 5-volt regulator. So the way that these work is you can put it in AC. It'll regulate it because it's got this big capacitor here. But you can put a DC too, because the bridge rectifier will figure out the right way to do it. So let's just put 12 volts on it and see what happens. And like I said, hook it up this way, and we get LEDs. We get LEDs lit up. Hook it up the other way, and we get LEDs lit up. It doesn't matter. The bridge rectifier figures that out for you. All right. So we have some LEDs here, which the wires are terrible and they're not making good contact. We'll leave it to the Chinese to make the world's worst things. Okay, there we go. So let's see here. Right now we have down, up, up, down. And over here we have down, down, up, down. So if we change them to be the same, oh, our LED came on. So anything else, any other combination of switches is not going to get there unless, oh, they match. So that is a 4-digit combination lock. Hoo-hoo! Anyway, hope you enjoyed the story time.